Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing Antebellum. John, I think that means after Bellum? Before Bellum? I don't know. Who can say?
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll find out. I'm your host for this evening. Joining me tonight, first up from Hotlanta, Georgia. Please welcome Cece.
Hello.
Next up from Maryland, whatever, state of crabs or something. The business manager of BloodyGoodHorror.com. Please welcome John Schnars.
Hi, Eric.
From Chicago, Illinois, we know what they do there. They eat meat and drink beer. Please welcome Joe to the show.
What's up, dick noses?
And last up tonight,
Very aggressive tonight.
from Indiana, land of the Sasquatch, which he's representing in his background image tonight. Please welcome Casey to the show.
Hello.
I don't love how it looks like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons is making love to that raccoon in that picture, if I'm being honest.
It does, yeah. There's
Yeah, it's
definitely
a little-
like
It's not great.
It's a little
Yeah, well.
strange.
It's not great.
it's like lazy morning sex. Like he's just like welcome, like, well, I'll roll
I don't judge
over.
your kink.
I don't actually want to support any of my body weight. Is that what you're trying
Yeah.
to say, Joe? Yeah.
Like, yeah, like you know, we're both in the mood, but our breath smells. Let's
I
get
mean-
these juices out and get our day going.
Ew, get these. No. That's fine until you said juices.
Yeah. You made it
Oh
weird,
my
Joe.
God. We are in for a
Uh,
really long night.
Yeah, so we're going to talk
Whoa.
about Antebellum tonight. This is a movie dealing with very sensitive subjects in an interesting way, which we'll talk about here soon. Joe, before we do that, before talking about sensitive subjects, it's always a good idea, I think, to drink,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So why don't you tell us what we're drinking tonight?
Beer guts.
Antebellum. I don't even know where to begin, how to describe this, but I'll let John take care of that, and I'll just jump into the beer that I picked tonight. So this is actually it's a special one, and I'm very fond of it. And it's not by a specific brewery, although this was created by Weathered Souls, which is a brewery down in Texas. So this beer is called Black is Beautiful, John. And for those of you not familiar, Weathered Souls created this beer, I want to say back in March, maybe April or a little after, but their whole idea was they created this beer and decided all the proceeds that they would donate to local organization. The one that they chose was Know Your Rights, and I'll just read from their website. Black is Beautiful is an initiative in collaboration efforts amongst brewing community and its customers in an attempt to bring awareness to the injustice that many people of color face daily. Our mission is to bridge the gap that's been around for ages and provide a platform to show that the brewing community is an inclusive place for everyone of any color. So they donated the proceeds of this beer to a local organization that helps for rights as far as voter suppression and a few other things as far as, police brutality and, that. And what they did was they actually put out the recipe for this beer, invited other breweries to create it and sort of join in for local organizations. So they, over like 1,200 breweries have actually joined in on this. The first one I had was a brewery out in Ohio that created it, but like there's 2 or 3 breweries around me. There's ones probably close to wherever you are that are doing this also. And it's become like sort of this grassroots movement of all these breweries coming together. They take the recipe, they modify it slightly, they kind of put their own twist on it, and then they're donating all the proceeds that they earn from it. So it's been this awesome thing that's been going on for months now. And like more breweries are signing on, and other breweries just keep putting out this beer. So it's doing great, and I'm like super excited that like especially the ones near me that I go to a lot have kind of jumped in on it too. So blackisbeautiful.beer is the website. You can go there, you can get information on all the breweries that have started to participate. You can find the ones that are near you. You can sign up for updates as other breweries join in. And yeah, that's my ramblings. I didn't explain it well, probably,
Oh,
but
it's
just go to the
awesome.
website and you kind of get more information.
Can-
But yeah, it's been awesome.
Can we get a dot beer?
Potentially, I
Oh.
assume so. Probably for like $2.
Get in on this.
Yeah, the dot rando things are usually not that expensive. We can look into
Mhm.
it. Bloodygoothard.assholes. Like, totally available, actually, it turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. All right, Joe. Thank you.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't even say. So the style is a stout, and the one I had, I think they incorporated coffee and chocolate into it. And there's a few others that I keep meaning to pick up, but like the base recipe itself is great, and then anything you do to it is going to make it better. So you're supporting a great cause, and you're also getting like a really good beer. So look it up, find a brewery near you, or 2 or 3, and go support them.
All right, Joe. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's the beer recommendation, something you get every week here with Joe. It is time. Let's take a quick break so that we can discuss Antebellum.
This is it, Senator. Your big break in TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
And we're back. John Schnorrs.
Eric.
Words.
Mm,
They used
so
to,
much power.
They used to have meaning. Remember that? I mean, in the time we've been doing the show, we've gone from a time where words had meaning fully into one where they do not. It's pretty wild.
You've gone real cynical today, huh? We're
It's cynical, but it's in a freeing way, John. It's like I got no control over it, so what am I going to do? I'm
okay.
looking for you to provide me with a little bit of solace here
The next
tonight
step is nihilism, Eric. So
Oh.
it's funny you say
No,
that because
Donnie, these mints are nihilists.
something randomly sent me down a rabbit hole last week of looking up Nietzsche quotes, and I was like, listen, I know this guy gets a bad rap, but like, this makes a lot of sense to me.
I had to write a couple papers on the old
Yeah, he's
Nietzsche
great.
back in the day.
Love that guy.
Frederick. Yeah.
All right, John, let's do it. Prove to me that words still have meaning, John. Please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word. It was going to be antebellum, and then I felt like that was just
No.
very lazy. I mean, it was lazy, but, so be it. Instead, today's word is mercantilism.
Oh. Go ahead, Joe.
Mercantilism. I'm going to read you the exact definition, and then I'll
You know exactly what I'm thinking.
Yes.
uh,
John,
belief
tell me
in-
about mercantilism.
Belief in the benefits of profitable trading,
Of
commercialism. Historically, the economic theory that trade generates wealth and is stimulated by the accumulation of profitable balances, which a government should encourage by means of protectionism. Mercantilism is often associated with the development of the plantation system in the South, in the antebellum period of the South.
You full on sound like a boring substitute teacher right now. I just want you to know
Well,
that. Like
Yeah.
you're 5 seconds away from putting a video on and going outside to smoke a cigarette.
Do you remember the film strips where you had to turn? There was like a
Beep.
machine. It was basically like you turned a knob.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good
That,
lord.
that's more my style, is what I'm getting at. Yeah, mercantilism. I mean, look, if you want to learn more about mercantilism, you should read about it on Wikipedia.
Like you just did.
It has been disproven, I would say, or it is not in favor as an economic theory anymore. But it is important historically.
I mean, none of it made sense to me, so you could convince me either way. All right, John, why don't you tell me about Antebellum? What's the deal with this movie?
Antebellum. So this was a movie that I believe we started getting trailers for back last year. Original release date was probably sometime around March or April, if I remember. And was probably on a couple of our most anticipated lists. Comes to us from freshman directors. Is it appropriate to call them freshmen, I guess? I mean, it's their first film. I don't know if anyone uses the term freshman, but I'm going to do that.
For the laugh of you, John, you can.
Okay, thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
that sick Verve Pipe song
Yeah.
Yeah.
30
I
years ago.
could not remember. We were wise, and we never
Okay.
compromised, John.
Yes.
For the life of me.
So Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz It's the writer director team here. So it's a team, and they are writing and directing. Stars Janelle Monáe, Jenna Malone. I'm trying to think who are the other. Kiersey Clemens. We actually just saw not too long ago in that movie where she's stuck on the island. You guys remember what was that called? Sweetheart.
Do you have
Sweetheart.
IMDb in front of you, John, or are you just trying to freeball this? Like,
No. I did a little research ahead of time. Yeah, I mean, so look, here's what I suggest. What I would like to do. I am going to read you the IMDb description. It's literally one line long. This movie has a very substantial twist. It's weird. It's like it's hard to call it a twist. It's not a M. Night Shyamalan twist where it happens in the last 2 minutes. It kind of happens at the turn of the third act.
It would have to be better explained to be an M. Night Shyamalan.
Well, sure. But I think like it does. If you go in completely blind and not knowing anything, which is essentially what I did, you may have like a slightly different experience. But that said, I was surprised how this movie is described publicly because I feel like it actually gives a lot of that twist away. So I'm just going to read here. Successful author Veronica Henley finds herself trapped in a horrifying reality and must uncover the mind-bending mystery before it's too late. Parts of that are misleading, I would say. But so the movie opens essentially on a slave plantation. You don't know really what's going on other than it's very, it's got all the trappings, right? It has all the accoutrement one would expect of a slave plantation. I think we see someone dressed in a Confederate soldier outfit essentially throw a rope around a woman's neck and drag her behind a horse. Like there's some really graphic violence that kind of opens the film, and again situates us in this time of sort of like racial violence and oppression and yada yada. We meet Janelle Monáe, who everyone she's the main character. Everyone's calling her Eden in the film, and so that. But there's a sequence when she's being beaten and said that she has to say her name with pride, and there's a lot of like weird sort of disorienting stuff that happens. At the first act mark, the film completely pivots, and we are now in sort of a modern day reality where Veronica, successful author, is living with her family in Chicago, I think, right, Joe? Did you catch that? I think it was in Chicago. And we come to learn that Janelle Monáe, she's like basically she is an author. She's like going to some conference, and so we see all that, and effectively we see her like living her normal life. And at the end of that sequence, as we sort of head into the third act, we see her get kidnapped by Jenna Malone, who's one of the other sort of main characters here.
Oh, we need to talk about Jenna Malone this movie.
We should spend some time with Jenna Malone. But we had seen some of this stuff earlier in the film, and it now comes up in this modern day thing. Again, it's all meant to be a little disorienting. The third act really kind of like brings that all together to some extent, and so I don't know. Like we're gonna have to.
We're gonna spoil the ending. Let's wait.
Yeah. Okay.
At least to get fully into it. Okay. Joe.
Oh, I wish you hadn't come to me first.
Okay. Cece.
No, I'm totally fine. But you can go ahead too, Cece.
I like that I just made it awkward. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'm fine, for Christ's sakes. So I was really looking forward to seeing this. I mean, from the trailer, it looked like a great movie. And it is a great trailer, but it started off strong for me. And then once you kind of figure out the twist, and once specifically when you kind of jump to modern day, things start to take a nosedive for me. And I think, we'll obviously talk about a lot of the themes and things that are going on here, but it felt very surface level to me. And then outside of sort of the message that they're trying to hammer home here, the movie itself was like an hour and 45, but I still felt like I really didn't know much about the characters and was left with like a ton of questions
or like
after
the
it wrapped
plot
up.
or the logistics.
Yeah, which Which is weird because I mean, with close to like a 2-hour movie, you feel like they could get in depth with a lot of what's going on here, but I feel like it really just kind of scratched the surface. So I don't know if that's editing, if that's the script, or like what happened here. But John, I think you said that this has been floating around for like 6 years or something, or did you just make
No,
that
no,
up?
no. That was pure speculation on my part.
Got it. Yeah, but it did. I mean, to that point, it did feel somewhat dated. Whereas like 5 years ago, I think this probably would have had a bigger impact on me versus now, with obviously everything that's going on in America. It felt a little too surface level for me, so I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting how much it would have hit different if you go back in time. Cece.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, this definitely is not the worst movie I've ever seen. And, I think that there are a lot of, positives to this movie in terms of like craftsmanship and, just skill and acting. But overall, which I feel like needs to be mentioned, that, 5 white people talking about a movie that's predominantly about the Black
100%,
experience is a little is surface level in itself. But I
Well,
I
here's
tried,
what they got wrong.
right. So like I don't want to be like, this is a weird movie for the times. Like I totally understand wanting to kind of explore this in a different way, but I think that's where, and maybe it's them being debut writer directors of a feature length film, is that like everything, like Joe said, is super surface level. I mean, Janelle Monet, whatever, she's a phenomenal performer in general. So like I just feel like she was really, I don't know, like she did well with what she was given, but her character, it's just so one dimensional. Like even when we see her, in her super like independent, strong, beautiful Black woman, like making it for herself, like everything she says is so tropey and so, it's things that a bot would pull from Twitter. You're just like, this is like, I get what she's saying, but like
They
I-
used
like,
AI
it's
to
like-
help write this, actually, so it
Right.
makes sense.
But I mean,
I fed Get Out into a bot and told it to write another one, and this is what it did.
exactly. But like, the whole thing is like, she's this doctor and the author about this, about overcoming like the legacy of oppression and kind of like moving forward. And you're like, okay, like I get what you're trying to get at, but we never get there, or we never even really see a glimpse of that. Like it's just literally mentioned. And there's several things that I feel like they expect you to pick up on as like kind of Easter eggs or like motifs about her work, and like later on in her other experiences are kind of repeated. But I don't know, there's not a better way to describe it for me than to be surface level. So, was it horrible? No, but I definitely think that the target was missed here. And I have to say, I think that a lot of the violence, like especially for today, was gratuitous in a way that like could have been handled really differently and been more impactful.
Yeah, that's valid.
Casey.
Actually, I think so. I'm right along with Joe and Cece. This thing is like a mile wide and an inch deep. There's just no depth to it whatsoever. There's no depth to the characters. There's no setup to get us to where we're ultimately going. It's not really earned at all. And there's just not a lot of information there that's given to us, and it makes it feel kind of flat. I think it looked fantastic, and I think everybody did great acting wise, but I agree with like what Cece was saying too with Janelle Monáe and some of her stuff. It just seemed like they said, this is the person you're going to be, just act like that, don't put anything else into it, leave it at that. And it worked for them, but that, like Cece said, this isn't the worst movie ever or anything like that. I did enjoy parts of it. It's just the writing ultimately falls flat for me because nothing's earned. And like you could say to, quote on Cece, you could say the whole movie is gratuitous. Everything, the violence,
Yeah.
the setup, the twist, everything's just gratuitous.
I would call the screenwriting gratuitous. On like,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true.
like this person never met subtext they liked.
So on that, like one
Go ahead, John.
I'm gonna give you like a very specific thing, but that I think is indicative of the point that you all are making. So this movie opens with a quote, which is like a fairly well-known quote from what the
William Faulkner.
yeah, Faulkner. I was gonna say Fitzgerald. I knew it wasn't Fitzgerald. A Faulkner quote, and this, to my mind, is the first time I can remember where the quote is actually then said to us by
Yeah.
one of the characters.
Yes.
It's actually said like by multiple characters, like to each other. It's like the most awkward thing.
That's like they're like, oh, they said the name of the movie in the movie.
This
and
is
you're
the
like,
thing.
What?
When you're dealing with subject this heavy, the worst thing you can do is assume that your audience can't pick up on shit that is not subtle to begin with, so then you feel like you have to say it out loud, because then at that point you're literally insulting an audience who, with a movie like this, like, your average person is going in wanting what this movie's giving them and is probably operating at an intellectual level where they can pick up some fucking subtext. Like, everything doesn't need to be said. Like, the scene in the hotel, like, once we come back to modern times, halfway through, is like just ridiculous. Like, I halfway expected the bellhop to be like, "We've put you into the racism suite right next to the slavery ball," and have her be like, "What was that?" And be like, "Nothing. I mean, blah." Like, it's like the most unsubtle shit ever. And Jenna Malone is literally I fucking love Jenna Malone.
Oh, dude, she's phenomenal.
She is so bad in this movie. It is like if Kristen Wiig was playing Scarlett O'Hara. That's what Jenna Malone is doing in this movie.
Well,
And the
everybody-
fact that
I
no
will
one,
say
the fact that no one at any point stopped her and was like, "Honey, can we please step this back a little bit?"
I was about to
is
say,
really
I
indicative of
realized
all
that-
the problems in this movie.
I mean,
I
she sounds
realized
just like
that-
60 to me.
Atlanta is very much a bubble inside of the South. Like, Atlanta is blue while Georgia is red, and like there's a whole conversation around that. But like, I was listening to Jenna Malone's accent and was just like, is that really what I sound like to people outside of the South?
No one on
Because, like,
earth sounds
oh
like
my
that.
God. Right. Well, I mean, I know. but I
Unless
was
you're-
just like,
It's ridiculous.
but but what I wanted to really say was about, and I mean that's a really good point that you brought up, Eric, about like it's really strange, like especially from a writer director duo which like it's a black guy and a white guy, who like in all of their their like titles, like they call themselves activists. So like you're like, okay, cool, you're on the front lines of this, like you're very well versed in like what's going on, and you're really like finger to the pulse about this kind of stuff. It's weird when they decide to try subtlety in their writing, because you're right, like in modern times there's zero subtlety. Like in the hotel, like it's super weird. In the restaurant, it's super weird. Like it's very heavy-handed and like.
What's the point of the restaurant scene? 20 minutes of Gabourey Sidibe talking about having sex with dudes? Like, no.
Right.
And by the way, those characters disappear 5 minutes later. They're not
Yeah,
even in the
never
other.
here again.
They're not even
But
in the
outs-
other part of the movie.
But
My
outside of
favorite part of
that-
the movie, and I was mildly aroused.
I mean, she's amazing too.
Yeah, it's just like, but she's given.
Very sexy in this.
I don't-
Like, I really
yeah.
was like.
I don't understand.
all right.
I don't understand
But-
why her
but when-
character is even there.
Well, I mean, because I think that she's supposed to be more of this like foil of, showing strong black beautiful women.
But like,
in
why
present
wouldn't?
times.
Sorry, why wouldn't those people though, to create more of an emotional gambit in the past? Why wouldn't they also be there?
Right. I know. I mean, I totally agree
Well,
with
that's
you.
explained by the twist.
Yeah.
Just
But
to
it-
be clear.
No,
Right.
no. But they could have. Whatever. What's stopping them from being like, "Here you go. You come with me."
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and maybe
can
they
talk
would
about it.
have had she like taken up his offer instead of just giving him her number. But my point is, like, all of the things that are happening in the present, which are much more subtle in real life, like the the underhanded compliments and like the subtle oppression that Black people and people of color experience now is so intense that like it's almost made a caricature
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
I
this
think that's
movie
really good way to
here.
put it.
Whereas in the past, the things that like you're supposed to be kind of like catching on, like we see one of the slaves with like a septum piercing, and then like one of the slaves like has a tattoo. Like when you start realizing those things, you're like, why aren't we focusing more on like the subtlety of these characters rather than the weird, like you're handling the present much more weird. Like if you're trying to make a, you know, a statement juxtaposing these two time periods, you're failing horribly.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the problem is like, okay, this movie made a fantastic trailer, for starters.
Yeah.
The movie with the trailer is fucking awesome. And as an appreciator of trailers, John, I will still go to bat for the trailer. Now,
trailer
having
was great.
now having seen it, I fully understand why the trailer was so good and why the actual movie was bad. And like, I actually think there's a core of a premise here that is super interesting. The cast has a shit ton of talent. There are, especially in the past scenes, I thought some really great cinematography, some really inspired shots. Unfortunately, everything else that makes a movie is bad, like very bad. It is very badly written. It is very badly edited and very badly paced, to the point where they basically just they kind of sabotage like any kind of weight to the emotional and like cultural things they're trying to say. For starters, like, let's say you didn't see a trailer for this movie.
Which is basically me. Like, I think I did see a trailer.
So for the first 45
year ago,
for
but
the
I
first
completely
45 minutes, what the fuck do you think you're watching? You think
Well,
you're
I
watching?
actually would say for the first 90 minutes, this isn't a horror movie.
It's
There's
not. No.
There's no
No.
horror going on.
To me, and I don't even.
Outside of
I'll be honest
realistic
with you.
historical horror.
Sure.
and
And
Joe-
the horror of racial
Yeesh.
oppression.
I feel
in
like
the
I feel like
present
Joe is
day.
gonna accuse me of.
That eye roll.
I feel like Joe's gonna accuse me of not watching the movie, but like, what? I don't understand. Did we start at the end of the movie and then jump back in time and then jump back forward? Because the movie makes it look like it was a dream. So then I'm confused about the timeline of what the hell I'm watching, and they never make it clear.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I'm going to accuse you of no. So, all right, this is
Whatever.
Where we should
Actually,
lay
listen.
down-
I don't care.
We should lay down the
Never mind.
spoiler
I'm just
because
kidding.
like it
I'm
actually
kidding.
matters a lot. Like, and
Let me
I-
just
here's
finish
the-
really quick. Let me just finish really quick.
all right,
I
go
think they
ahead,
make
'cause
a really bad
finish what-
mistake by not blending these two timelines and chopping back and forth. Because what it happens, what it means is, while the beginning is probably the most compelling part of the movie because it's shot really well, it's really intense. It's probably where there's the most kind of deft hand, even though it's gratuitous at times. Like, you know, this is shit that really happened, and
Yeah, for
they're
sure.
treating it with respect. There's some. I feel really bad for this dude that was in Boardwalk Empire because he's a fucking amazing actor, and he very rarely gets like good roles like this. And I
And
don't
he's
know.
like human scum. Like he's
He
like
is,
the worst
yeah.
of human scum
But, like,
in this movie. Yeah.
When you cut to all of that like style and tension, like filmmaking tension, completely disappears when we cut to modern day, and it's almost like we start the whole movie over. And that's at the point where all subtlety gets thrown out of the window. Everything is being spoken, and not even in particularly like very interesting ways, right? You don't even know, like, again, like, I get what Cece's saying. Yes, the beginning of the movie is horrific, but you don't know that you're watching a genre film. Let's say that, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and then it's like literally, I think Cece, I'm gonna give you credit for this. You said this over email was brilliant. It's like, what did you say? It was like a Lifetime version of Get Out. Is that what you said?
No,
No,
a lifetime version of Westworld.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
And again, spoiler.
Whatever.
alert.
Yeah.
It doesn't like. Here's the spoiler alert, right? Because the trailer makes it seem like this is some kind of supernatural thing, like they supernaturally get transported back to these times, which I think is a way better idea for a movie and could have been done a lot better. What actually happens, they kind of reveal, because it's not really explained in any kind of way that I found satisfactory, which is that they've been abducted and brought to like this Westworldy fantasy slave camp kind of thing.
It's
is
a
the only way I
Civil
can put
War
it.
reenactment facility, but then there's like a secret, like
Right.
super reenactment facility where
Right.
you can basically be
Like
a slave master, and they're killing tons
but
of
it's
black
a-
people.
It's a scheme so effing complicated that I will not accept the lack of explanation that's given for it in the movie.
And where like famous black people are being
Yeah.
captured and murdered
Yeah.
wantonly, and like no one seems to be able to figure it out, and not people like from the neighborhood. Like
No.
they're literally airlifting her somehow from Chicago or wherever the hell the fucking conference was down to Louisiana, which is where I think maybe she goes to Louisiana, and that's when they captured her. But
I think, yeah.
in any event, no, Eric, like
So it's just it is badly made. It starts out like visually compelling and fairly tense, And then at the point, it's about 45 minutes in, we cut to modern day, I think the whole thing completely shits the bed. And then it just, I almost kept going at that point because I had to see how dumb the last 25 minutes were, and I was not disappointed.
So
Although, one last thing, a shit ton of slow motion, to which I will admit, John, that I am a slut for slow motion.
Oh,
I will
lot of
take it
great
any
slow
I will
motion
take it
in
any
there.
way I can get it, John.
that was my least favorite part of the movie. No, so look, like all I really was, I got to talk about the Faulkner quote, which was just outrageous. And you know, the fact that you're going to use that up front and then use it in the movie, like whatever, it's just a disaster area.
John, I
It's a
can't go
kind of
through
magic.
another episode of this podcast arguing Faulkner quotes with you. Like,
All right.
every fucking time.
Hold on.
You know
But
this is Joe's wheelhouse, John.
I almost feel like I'm being put in a position where I have to defend this movie that I did not enjoy that much.
Why?
Because, well, so here's the thing. The point you just made, Eric, I think is exactly the right one, which is the kernel, to me at least, is workable. Like, there's a good idea. This is a high concept film.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
right,
think
like-
there's a kernel to like a really powerful movie in here. That's what's frustrating about it.
But it honestly, they made this choice about structure that
Yeah.
fucking ruins the movie.
Yes.
Because I actually agree with you that if they had done more intercutting of those two, like, first two segments that then led to the big reveal.
Yeah.
So Eric, like when you were joking about people accusing you of not watching the movie, basically, like, the way they structure this thing is like it's in present day, but then they do a rewind where they show you how she got to the plantation.
Oh,
but
that's
then
what
they
I
just-
said.
Yeah, but then they just
Yeah.
pick up. It's not.
But
so
the
complicated.
movie, in order to kind of rope-a-dope you a little bit, makes you
cheap
feel
ass.
like she's dreaming or something, and that part
Yeah.
continued to confuse me later on.
Yeah, it's like for everything they tried to make twisty in this movie, in the plot, they did it in the simplest way possible.
I shit
the
you
most
not.
transparent.
I shit you not. There was a point in this movie where I was like, do they abduct her every night when she falls asleep and then put her back in bed?
Oh, no. So the best was Leslie guessed the twist within like 5 minutes of watching this thing, and like literally, I'm like, "You think? No." And then like she wakes up and Leslie's like, "Oh, okay, yeah," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? She's dreaming. Like obviously." I'm talking to Leslie like she's insane, and then like because I was having the same experience you were, Eric. Like it was
It's
very hard
very
to follow,
confusing.
like
But
up
this is-
until they
so-
like beat you over the head with it.
But this is why I was when I was doing the kind of opening, like I wanted to read the way that it's being listed on IMDb, because to me, the fact that they're even portraying this thing as she must uncover the mind-bending mystery, she
Yeah.
doesn't. That's not what the movie's about at all.
Yeah, she
Right.
doesn't
She's
understand the
thrown
mystery.
right into the mystery of it.
She
Well, and I
knows.
think that's what-
She
no
knows,
mystery's
right?
out.
But they go out of their way to pretend like they go out of their way to not have characters say things that tips you off to the movie.
Yeah.
But when you
Right.
realize what's going on, you're like, that doesn't make any sense
Well,
whatsoever.
and there's like the whole fake
Sorry,
about
Cece.
the war noises that you hear, but then they show you the plane in the air. It's like
Yeah.
it's all fucking
Well,
lies.
I
to
think that
It's
the
all
biggest
lies.
fail of this movie is that it tries to be a high, like a high-minded, like,
Yeah.
you know, Get Out type of film. And like I hate that that now Get Out is such a bar for movies, because like yes, Get Out was amazing, but you know there's also other movies that are amazing, and you don't have to like always try to like emulate that. If they had been more straightforward about this, like if you had come out of the boat saying like, yes, she gets kidnapped and we're in this like fucked up reenactment camp and like she's trying to figure out how to get out and like all this stuff is happening, I'm totally here for it. But the fact that you're trying to like make it seem more than
Yeah.
like a bunch of assholes being horrible pieces
Right.
of like human garbage.
I
Like,
mean, the brilliance
no, that's just what it is.
the
Like, just show
brilliance
me
of
that.
Jordan Peele, though, and it's why he has the accolades that he does, is that he first makes really good thrillers, and his his social critique is so strong, but it's like centered around like characters and situations.
Right.
You either are the kind of person that you're never going to see it, and then it doesn't matter, you can just watch this movie you're enjoying, or you're the kind of person that's going to engage with it, and when you are, there's like levels of shit going on in his movies
Right.
where I get out of them and I'm like, I need to find a smart person to tell me what this movie is about. But I like that. Like that's
Right,
Yeah.
but that's
It's
what I'm saying. Like,
engaging.
that's okay that like not every filmmaker or film writer has to be that way. Like, you know what? Some people like I'm not as great of a writer as some other people. Like, that's fine.
No,
Like,
you're one of the best.
Don't
I
you
didn't-
dare.
Don't sell
But-
yourself short.
but what I'm saying is, like, just because like you respect somebody's work and you want to emulate things from that body of work doesn't mean you can't, but you can do it in a way that's still beneficial to your own art. And I think that they this was just trying too hard to be something that it wasn't.
Yeah, but you also
Like,
got
I
to
wonder-
try. You got to learn their subtleties to
Yeah.
those people you're trying to emulating too. Because like the only reaction we got from Janelle Monáe being kidnapped in this movie is when we get into the third act and the general guy goes out and answers the iPhone off the horse, and then she gets a hold of it and calls her husband. He said, "Dear, tell me where you are. Where have you been?" That's
Yeah.
the only indication they give you. You don't see anything with the
Well-
husband fighting or struggling or anything like that. It just seems that's what I mean by it all. It seems like superficial. There's a lot of that going on in
Yeah.
the movie, not
I
just that
mean,
particular moment.
Yeah, nobody really has any much characterization at all.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
even okay, even the fact that Janelle Monáe is supposed to be the main character of this movie. Okay, we go back in time, quote unquote. Well, we don't understand. Like, why is she the only person who has any, like, I mean, even a smidge of background? Like, the only other character, we see two other characters.
Cabaret,
Well, no. I mean,
Jenna Malone.
no.
I'm
I
just
need
gonna
to pull
say.
up. I know. I need no. What's her from Sweetheart?
Yeah, Kiersey Clemens.
Yes, we see Kiersey as she comes onto the plantation and she starts like confronting Janelle Monáe about like, I know who you are. Like, I know you can get us out of here. It's like, well, why? Because she has a PhD, like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird.
That
She's
scene
been
is,
on
but that's
CNN,
a specific
so.
scene to me that is very. It does not make sense. Like the way
Right.
that they're talking, they are alone. The way that they're talking does not make sense. And also in my head, I'm like, imagine how much more powerful it is if the person who kills themselves turns out to be her friend. Now the problem is you totally screw yourself because of the terrible way you like pace this movie. Because then you go into the future and you see the friend and you're like,
Yeah.
you know exactly what's happening. Although whatever.
Well,
My point is like, I feel like they maybe thought about that at some point, but then realized it totally their whole way that they're obscuring this in the audience is like razor thin. Like and introducing those characters created a lot of problems that I guess I see they did not know how to work around.
Well,
I
I
had
almost
no
wonder like
no,
there's
no, go ahead.
they beat you over the head with the one of the producers from Get Out and Us, right? Like
Yeah.
all the marketing had that on there, and you take a look at the IMDb page. There's 10 producers on this thing, and like one guy who was on Get Out and Us also. And I almost wonder if there's a version of this script out there where it was just like chronological, right? Like just like straightforward and like the story, which I almost feel like would have been, and we've kind of been talking about it, like would have been a lot more enjoyable and a lot, sort of easier to digest. Like, I wonder if they actually ended up kind of putting in a twist based on the fact that they kind of got this producer on board.
Yeah, maybe.
That's fair.
I think
because with the Kirstie Clemens
No,
stuff,
John,
the structure
say
of
it happened, John.
When Kirstie Clemens shows up and she's telling her, "I know who you are. You can get me out of here." That's in the first part before we even get to the modern world, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if they would have shown us getting Janelle Monáe getting kidnapped earlier on, and then we get to that point, then it turns more into, oh shit, she's drugged and they've been brainwashing her and stuff. She doesn't know who she is. A lot more effective.
yeah, I mean,
Right, and now,
I
so
was-
just so I'm clear, there's no drugging or brainwashing. It's just that they're somehow obscuring language here so that I don't think she knows who she is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because the
Correct.
movie like strongly.
Because we do know she knows who she is because she's doing yoga, like to save herself and get out of the cabin.
Well, and she's,
which
like,
is,
rubbing
a
that
bizarre,
picture.
Like, yeah, and then she's like drawn her daughter's picture on her like cabin wall. So like, there's all these things that we're supposed to catch on that she
It's just
knows
so
who
confusing.
she is, but the whole time it's like, well then, like. I don't know. It's so obscured that it doesn't motivate the
The,
story at all.
Just to again, I'm gonna say like a very specific thing, but I think it's indicative of the quality level of the writing. clearly the screenwriters, I have to believe they don't have children, because the fact that they think one picture that your like fucking 6-year-old drew is like something you would carve into the wall. Do you know how many pictures your 6-year-old
They
draw?
never
It's like
stop making
hundreds.
pictures.
Yeah. Like you like
And
like,
none of them
she
look like
recreates
anything.
This
Disney
one.
in the 30s, just like churning out cell after cell.
It was
Jesus.
insane. Like the fact that that would have so much weight for her is fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I believe like they had to give her something else that she was going to be able,
Right.
and like I don't know, whatever. You had to do something, and screenwriting's hard. Whatever, I get it, but like
Nah,
you know,
it's not
there's-
that. It's not that
it's
hard,
just-
John.
I don't know.
I like that John's two big gripes are a Faulkner quote and
The
the fact
child's
that
drawing.
the mother cherished a drawing.
But it's so indicative of them not understanding what it's like to have a 6-year-old. Like that's like my honest experience of this movie. No,
I think
the
you
thing
might have
was-
too many kids, John. I think it's melting your
Yeah.
brain.
That could be. Probably
Now,
could
when
be.
she talked to the kid later, she knew his name. Like,
No. The point I was gonna make,
Oh,
like,
God.
I actually, when I was getting to this earlier, but like, I think this movie, and Joe, you sort of even brought this up, like, there's a version of this movie that works. Like, I don't think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as much as they fake all that first act, as much as they're like faking you out and like kind of just throwing shit at you to honestly keep you confused as a viewer, which is not like a great way to make a movie. I at least liked the callbacks and the way that it was structured into the third act.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't idiotic. Like there were
I mean,
parts of it
also,
that
like,
were at least
the-
like
The
like
stuff,
this,
that
the
stuff
Kirsten
is all
Clemens thing.
pretty,
Like that conversation that she has takes on more weight once you know who she is and once you know like.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least that part I like think works, but I don't know. I mean,
I think this like it's just very. I think it suffers from the like pretentious writers' room kind of situation.
Yes,
Like I
yeah.
think that they got really excited about it. They had this idea, and then once they like started putting it to paper, they were like, "Well, why don't we do like this kind of twist? Like we'll just make this whole idea the twist." And you're like, "No, dude. Like, you don't have to have a twist to be smart. Like you can still have a
Yeah.
smart, straightforward movie.
It's just
and
it's too
it's just a little
complicated.
too over ambitious.
It's like overly written and it doesn't trust its audience. And those are kind of two
Yeah.
to me like fatal flaws when you're trying to make. I mean, they're trying to make a really heady, socially conscious horror film, and that's great. But it's just they're just missing the mark, I think.
Yeah.
can we talk about sort of the fact that this movie's coming out right now? I mean, it's like it came up a little bit. I think Joe brought this up even when he was talking about how he felt about it. We're living through just like a really, really difficult time.
Yeah, dude, tell me
in
about it.
the history of our country and as it relates to equity and racial injustice and yada yada yada. And this movie feels, to me, it felt, I don't want to say disrespectful because that's too strong.
Right.
It feels like it doesn't actually grapple with the moment that we're living in, and it's grappling with like it's frankly, and this is I think Cece, your point about like lifetime version of Westworld is like so on the nose because it's it feels like a fifth or sixth graders version of racial justice and like what the reckoning around that looks like. And what annoys me about it, I'll
It's like
stop.
Hallmark wanted to get real.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What annoys me about that is
Well,
like,
it doesn't help
like-
that like the modern day scenes are literally shot like one of those movies. Like are so like I
Yeah.
cannot believe that the same person shot the wraparound stuff and shot the middle. Like it's crazy
so,
to me.
Yeah.
but like what bothers me is like genre film historically has been this like really powerful vehicle
Mhm.
for grappling with issues like that, but typically wrapped in a genre container. And here, it's like they don't understand that it's supposed to be a container. Like
Yeah.
they're just kind of like, oh well, racism is bad. It was bad for slavery, and guess what? It would be bad if it was still slavery now. Like I don't. It's just
Well, and
it's childish, is what
you're
it feels
totally
like.
yeah, you're totally right. Like
It feels
went
like it
back
doesn't
and-
rise to the gravity of what they're trying
Right.
to tackle.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And so like I finished the movie, like I really wasn't sure how I was supposed to be feeling, and I'm like I don't know how to grapple with like the mixed mashed kind of reaction I felt to it. So I was reading several reviews of it, and I tried to like specifically find like Black reviews because I mean we're a bunch of white people, like I wanted to know like how they were interpreting this. And I think that the biggest concern is that this just seems very flagrant in terms of like using it's just such an overused trope of like exploring that violence and that like redemption, and like you said, it doesn't do anything for today.
Right.
So it's, like, yes, it's great to see her triumph at the end and her like get her revenge, but like that doesn't really help right now. Like that's her in the past doing that, and then to know that like this whole time, like the general is supposed to be the senator that she was arguing with at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like what? Like
Oh
you're
wait,
trying to-
I didn't.
Sure, I
Yeah.
picked
Nah,
that
I
up,
get
dude.
that.
exactly.
That
So,
was
like,
all in that like final conflict with Jennifer.
yeah, and the whole
Yeah.
time, and like so apparently, which like I didn't even notice, but in the restaurant scene when she gets kidnapped, like all these times you see the senator, like basically it's during an election year for him, so like they kidnap her, I guess, to like because he hates her, but also because I guess he thinks it's
He's
going to help
obsessed
him.
with her.
Yeah, he's obsessed with her. But I'm like, okay, well, why isn't she getting this redemption in the middle, in like the modern times? Like, there's not like,
Yeah.
yes, she burns him and he dies, but like that's not
Right.
that's
How
not
are
the
we moving
satisfying.
this story
Well,
forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think how they really showcased how powerful's not the right word, but how influential she was in the future either. I mean, they hinted at it. She's speaking at a conference. She's writing a book. A couple people congratulate her. They could have done a lot
I
more
mean,
to
honestly,
show us how influential she was.
dude, like
and why.
the biggest thing they can give me is that she was on a talking head thing on CNN and got a point in. Like, okay, dude,
Yeah.
literally the most pointless fucking political exercise you could possibly imagine. Going on
Yeah.
CNN and arguing with someone and being like, blah, like that's her triumphant moment. It's like, and her friends are congratulating her. It's like, seriously, this is the best we can do here, people. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, it
I
falls
think the
into
writers
very-
writing it really thinks that's a fucking triumph, is going on CNN and just playing into their bullshit, or Fox News or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking stupid, John. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I just
I don't
think
know.
that like there's ways to use like John's saying, like genre film is such a great vehicle for this and has been historically, and we're at a time where we're getting movies that are really really making a point doing that. So then when you have a film that tries and fails, I mean it is a bomb, and you're just like, what were you thinking,
Yeah.
and how did that like how did this continue?
Yeah. I mean, not to mention they hitch their wagon to Us and Get
Right.
Out, right? So like
Yeah.
you've got those movies in the back of your
They're
head the
drawing
entire
it-
time
well,
you're watching this, and you're like, no,
At least
you didn't
the
do it.
at least the marketing team has drawn those comparisons, right? I mean, that
Yeah.
might not be the
Yeah.
filmmakers,
Which
but
it does. I mean, and maybe I would have not been as disappointed in it if it weren't hitched to that. Like
Mhm.
I think that does a major disservice, and that's what I mean. Like, just because you admire something and you get that producer on your team doesn't mean that that's what you have to like, like trump your stuff out to as. Like, you can still appreciate it without,
Yeah.
Pun intended, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
all right, guys. I think we're good to wrap. You guys feel okay about that?
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thumbs
Thanks
up,
for asking, though.
thumbs
I
up or down,
appreciate that.
Cece,
Thumbs down.
JoJo,
Yeah, down.
John,
Down.
Casey. I really don't like where your head is in that background now. I just want to let you know that. What about you, buddy?
Down.
Okay, you're
I
going
like
down, all
that
right.
Sasquatch or that Bigfoot's hand is about to push your head down.
Like it's now weird. It's now a real weird interspecies threesome happening on this
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's not great.
Like I said, I don't judge your kink.
You don't know my kink, bro. So
You'd
no,
like to,
don't speak
so
too
it's
soon.
all
All
right.
right, guys, let's take a quick break.
Do you guys want to know mine? We
Well,
can lay this out.
Let's get into it after the break. Let's do a quick break, guys. We'll do some fan mail.
There's a storm at sea,
You're all gonna die.
and it's blowing terror to the Big Apple. Now, the only safe place to be
You're dead meat. Yo, man, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool.
is out of town. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters everywhere.
This is Jeremy Gardner. I'm the writer, director, star of The Battery, and you're listening to Bloody Good Horror.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join Patreon to get back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
All right, Joe. Lay it on me, buddy. What's the weirdest thing you're into? What you got? Shock me.
I don't really think there's anything weird. I mean, butt stuff. I mean, obviously, but like
Butt stuff?
nothing.
That was it?
I'm trying to think.
I mean, you don't wash your feet. That's pretty fucking weird.
That's not weird.
You, so you
I
don't
watched
You
them.
don't wash your hands?
His feet.
No,
is
I watched
His
them.
legs.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Like,
I mean,
like,
if I
let
need
me.
to, like, if there's dirt, if I'm out, mowing the lawn or something, I'll do it. But like in general, no, you don't need to.
Let me put it this way, Joe. What do you look up on like Pornhub when no one's in the house?
I mean, the same stuff I'd look up when people are in the house.
Okay, sure
I
thing, buddy.
I like thick women, Eric. That's my
Okay,
thing.
interesting.
Yeah, a little something there, if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. I feel you, bro. I got you. All right, cool. I know there's something there. You're just not telling me. That's fine. I get it. Info@bloodygoodhorror.com. Email address. Before we do that, we got a couple things going on. Joe, I was scrolling. I made a mistake today, Joe.
I don't think you did.
I went to Facebook. It's like, what? Sometimes you're just fucking bored and you just like muscle memory. And before you know it, you hit Control T and you went to Facebook and you're like,
are you still? I assumed you.
I don't use it.
deleted
I
your
don't
account.
use it at all. Like, but every once in a while, it's just like literally, I just fuck up and I go there and I start scrolling down, and the first ad I get hit with, hold on, I got it right here. It says, browse Bloody Good Horror and other celebrities on Cameo, and it's a picture of you with a wine glass, like full on ladies man at the camera.
Yeah.
What a fucking
welcome.
algorithm generated nightmare that was.
That beautiful picture has earned us tens of dollars, Eric.
Yeah.
On Cameo.com.
Just a nightmare. Anyway, Joe, you want to talk about Cameo and then also the 5K?
Yeah, I mean, this honestly has been the best 2 weeks of my life because Cameo.com/BG Horror. If you're looking to provide an announcement for childbirth or pop the question or tell someone you want a divorce, our listener Victoria
I'm waiting for that one. I would
sent
like that
in
to happen.
the last one we got was from our listener Victoria. She's hosting a sort of a horror movie night, I think on Friday or Saturday of this week, and asked us to intro it, which was a ton of fun. We got one to like pep talk a guy's girlfriend, like pretty much you just send in your request and say like, hey, I want to tell my boyfriend it's over. Can you do that in video form? And I'll do it for you. And it's a lot of fun and excitement happens. So $5, it's, gets you all the action.
Maybe not all of it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I don't know what I can do on there.
You
Cameo.com.
gotta, listen. You gotta take us. You gotta.
$5 to show what you search on Pornhub.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could.
I was gonna say you gotta take us to the champagne room for all the action, Joe. We're classy,
Yeah.
okay?
I mean, who saves their Pornhub search history, right? Like, is
It doesn't just auto save like Google.
I'm sure Google does, Joe. I'm sure it's somewhere.
no. And ever since the invention of like open incognito window, like
I was
you
like, it
don't.
doesn't just
Boom. Yeah,
auto-generate
nobody can
log
see
in.
that.
Yeah. Although I am curious, like, so did a comedian do something about this? Like, there's accounts, like somebody signs up for an account to like.
It's actually
I don't know
about that, but I was literally today I was watching a Hannibal Buress bit where he's talking about people who comment. It was very
that
funny.
was last week. No, this was the movie we did last week. What's his name from SNL? That was his bit, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Kyle Mooney.
Oh, okay,
Kyle
Kyle
Mooney,
Mooney. Yes,
Yeah.
funny.
People
I-
weren't into it in the movie, but
Right.
it's amusing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is amusing.
I thought it was funny. Like it was a valid point.
I
But
watched
anyway,
a Stormy Daniels one time, and I would have left a comment because it was the like most uncomfortable thing. I just couldn't. I was like, this is
wait,
not
what
good.
was uncomfortable
You didn't
about
send us a link? Come on, Cece, my God.
it? I'm curious. Like,
No,
I mean,
she was fine, but I was like, of all the people, like you picked this dude, like
oh yeah.
why?
I
was
always
hard. It
wondered
was very
that. Like,
distracting. I mean, it was
like-
not hard. It was just very distracting.
I remember like specifically one in college with it was like fireman themed, and the guy was like, it was like a mosquito bite, like, and I'm like, how can you pretend? One, how did you get a job doing this? And two, like, how can you pretend like this is exciting? Like,
She
don't know.
was way like I appreciate her acting skills because she was way too into it. But then they kept like I don't know, it was poorly directed. They were both facing the camera, and I was just like, this isn't like this is awkward.
it's
I
a
have a lot of
lot.
questions.
Yeah. Maybe Stormy Daniels is on Cameo. You can ask her a
I
question.
could.
Oh, she's definitely on Cameo.
Yeah. Anywho,
Come
cameo.com.
for Stormy Daniels, stay for Bloody Good Heart.
Alright,
We're
since-
a lot cheaper.
Since we spent
We're a
10
lot cheaper.
since we spent 10 minutes on Cameo, let's do a svelte 30 seconds on the 5K.
Yeah. So, Bloody Good Horror 5 and 10K. It's the first time we're doing a 10K. The weekend of October 16th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Go out, run a 5K, run a 10K. Send us a screenshot of whatever your tracking app is, and join in on the magic. We'll send you a medal if you're in the continental U.S. If not, we'll hook you up with a back episode or something. Send in your results, bloodygoodhorror.com, or sorry, bloodygoodhorror@gmail.com, and then post up, your pictures while you're out there training and doing whatever. Use the hashtag RunBGH, and yeah, it'll be a good time.
Wonderful. Info at
Thanks, man.
bloodygoodhorror.com. First up, we got a note from Alyssa. Alyssa's running the book club. It's officially spooky season. We're going to finish up The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. It's amazing. And then we'll kick off October by diving into A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. Quite a few of us in the book club will be enjoying a nice reread of the spooky possession story. Patrons can join us in the BGH Book Club channel on Slack, and non-patrons can join us on Goodreads at Bloody Good Horror Book Club or through the website. And they're on Twitter, BGH Book Club. That's from Alyssa. One email tonight, Joe. Caitlin Daniels is actually relevant. Now Joe can wash his feet and then put it on the wall for his backside too. So it's this thing. It's like a rubber mat with like kind of like bristly things on it, and you put it on your shower. So then the soap collects, and you kind of just like rub your feet on it to like clean your nasty feet in the shower. So you're not technically washing them. Like you're sort of going with your current theory, but it's like it's an augmentation to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's too much washing for Joe, is my suspicion.
I'm not saying I don't want, like, if I'm, if I got filth and grime on like the bottom of my legs, I'll clean it.
Feel
But
like
for
there's
the
some
most
walking
part-
back here of the.
I'm just saying, for the most part, gravity does the work for you.
I like the
Why
idea.
waste
I
your
like
time?
her. I like her idea of putting it on the wall and rubbing your ass against it, because I guess you can't wash your own ass. Okay, Joe. What do we got on Twitter?
We are on Twitter at BG Horror, and every week we use the hashtag AskBGH. If you got a question about the movie or just life in general, we're here to help you. First up from PS Trophy Hunter, in honor of Katamari Damarai return. I'm thinking of picking up a cat. Should I name it Cat Amari, Dom, or Macy?
Fun
And
fact.
This is Joe, right? Like he
Yeah,
purposely
this is not-
sent this in to make me.
This is not BGH Joe from Twitter, and I requested he send this in so I could hear you say Katamari Democracy, because it's been way too long.
It was. What is the second word?
It's Damacy or Damacy. Yeah, something
Damachi.
like that. Oh, it could be that too. Yeah.
I don't know. Dom. Go with Dom. All right. Next
Great
up
question.
from uh, attorney at Space. That's our buddy Adam, Space Lawyer. What is the least scary thing in real life that scared you in a film?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know, dude.
Oh.
I feel like there's got to have been like cat jumps into screen,
Yeah.
or there's jump scares that they throw
I
in
will
that are
say
just ridiculous.
The
these days.
last time I was like super like scared and jumped at a jump scene was in The Invisible Man, because that was the last movie I saw in theaters, and I saw it in like surround sound, and that dog barking at the very beginning, like where it's all silence, I literally jumped out of my seat, and I live with a dog that barks constantly. So I was like, I don't know why it made me jump, but it scared me.
All right, next up from Nuke Spook. What horror movie made you the most uncomfortable?
Martyrs.
Oof.
Serbian film.
Irreversible.
Yeah, that's up there.
I mean,
Arachnophobia.
Come
what's
on,
that one
that's
we
a
watched?
great movie.
A Serbian film, which I don't even know if it's really a horror movie, but like that
It's-
took a while.
It's a
to-
movie no other genre would have, so by default we are forced to claim it.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Next up, it's been a few weeks, fortunately, from our buddy C.O.W. Flanagan. He
Nice.
sends in the question, and somewhat relevant to what we were discussing before. Yo, my idol Lisa Sparks didn't give up and made history. What's a record you figured you all could take on? Mine is most hours sitting on the toilet. And for those of you not familiar with Lisa Sparks, she is
God.
a adult film actress.
I just googled it. I should
who-
not have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I-
I didn't get anything too X-rated, but I did get the news headlines.
Not a
about it.
fan.
She broke the world record of highest number of men slept with in a single day,
Good God.
sleeping with a total of 919 men in 24 hours.
Damn.
Why
Pretty
919?
exhausting.
That's not
Well,
great.
Why,
that's, I
like,
was gonna ask, do you think it was 918 was the record? She was like, "Fuck, if I got to do one more, fine." But like, or it was just that was we're gonna go until.
This is an
Hell of a
impressive.
lot of
Wait a
odors.
second. This is an impressive stat to me, or maybe impressive is not the right word. She slept with one man for an average of 45 seconds.
Yes.
I guess these guys were like making sure it was in the chamber before they.
Well, that's what fluffers are for. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
point, Cece. You make a good point.
Well,
there.
I don't think in these movies I've seen a few. I don't think you have to finish for that to count as a number. Like literally, they
Yeah,
just have
You're
to.
right.
There's
I'm
got
gonna-
to be an
I
in
don't
and
know,
out.
dude.
about this,
Really?
I think.
I'm gonna call bullshit on this record then. Just saying.
No, I'm not. Like, could you imagine?
I'm not. That's
First of all,
still like.
I just assumed
Yeah.
they could
See what I
sleep
mean.
with, like they were laying
Not
down
enough
next to each other.
tarps for Eric's
Had her eyes closed.
You're taking naps. A 45-second nap with each other.
like even the most like hard up guy, you got to figure is going to take 1 to 2 minutes if they have to actually finish. Then there's the like hunch over, like I'm exhausted for a few seconds. Like 919 men, if they had to do the full business, it would take days.
I wonder if mosquito bite guy was there. You got to figure he passed it
I
pretty
don't
quick.
so God.
It's 38 an hour is the math.
Hmm.
So
I have
I
lots,
mean,
I have a lot
40
of questions
45
that
seconds is not that long, or it doesn't seem that long, but it's also like the average is.
I have a lot of questions
One
that
every
I don't
1.5.
think we're gonna find answers to tonight. So why don't we move on, Joe?
Yeah.
I think we can easily with a quick Google search.
Let's keep
Anyway, the
doing that.
question
Yeah.
was: is there a record that you guys think you could break?
Not that one.
Not that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Joe.
Joe, you gotta set goals.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
let's just move on. From at Facilitoro, my cat catches bats and lets them loose in my apartment. What is the most annoying thing your pets do?
Get rid of your
Oh,
cat first of
God.
all.
Yeah.
That my dog will chase chipmunks, but not the rat that lives around our house.
Oof.
Mine has some kind of like allergy. He's been to the doctor several times. He's fine, but it's some kind of like allergy that makes him hack and cough, where he sounds like
Ugh.
an emphysemic old man or something, just hanging out in my apartment all the time. and we'll just kind of be walking around coughing up phlegm balls constantly. It's really great. He does it in the middle of the night too. Like if
Ugh.
you know in the middle of the night you wake up, your dog wakes up, they'll walk around for a minute and kind of reshift. Well, I also get with that like a minute of hacking and coughing that wakes me up. So it's fun.
I got a cat that loves to eat out of the trash can.
Gross, dude. How does a cat get it?
Both
I
my
don't know.
They find ways.
both mine just like whine when they see other dogs, like a high pitched, obnoxious whine, and I hate it. Like I give them scoffs and dirty looks, and like every dog in my neighborhood is like perfectly behaved, and then I walk with mine, and they're just like, and I'm secretly like disgusted by them.
My dog, if the neighbor's out on their front porch or something, like the neighbor lady likes to go out and have a cigarette before she goes to bed at night. I take the dog out, and so I'm chained to the dog. Anybody's outside smoking, our dog will stop and stare at them like eye to eye.
People with really,
until I pull her away.
people with really well trained dogs, like I respect it, but I also think it's kind of weird because like because like that only happens if you really train them, and like who has that much time, John? I mean, really,
Yeah.
what are you doing with your life?
Yo, no dog. All right.
Dog
Yeah.
trainers.
Put it out there. No dog over here.
I mean,
Don't
untrained
you guys
dogs.
have
So
like 14 cats though?
we have 2 cats.
Or did you leave them
And my children are
in New York
boys,
City?
so
Yeah.
I would have left my cats in New York City if my wife would let me, but you know.
Hateful.
All right. Next up from our buddy at Erie, Arizona. When you're having a shitty pandemic with a side order of crippling depression, what are some of your go-to comfort horror movies to help distract you from this harsh reality we call 2020?
my first thing I went to, Friday the 13th. I watched every single one, and then I watched Crystal Lake Memories. So that took like a week.
Showgirls. It's the 25th anniversary.
Nice.
Oh, I rented that movie on my 17th birthday because you had to be 17 or older, and I was the first one of my buddies to turn 17.
Did you
and
keep it like you kept to the craft?
No. Well. Speaking of 45 seconds.
There's always there's always the weird like adolescent moments with stuff like that where you're like, guys, it probably doesn't happen now because you don't like it's just everywhere. But at the time, like you'd find it and be like, oh, we gotta watch this, and then you put it on, and you're like, oh, we're just like watching this together now. Like, what?
Yeah,
this is super weird.
Yeah. Sort of like, yeah, let's just get together and get boners together, guys.
Hey, I gotta go home. I gotta go home, guys.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I'll see you tomorrow.
I don't know if I have any like comfort movies. Although I've been renting a lot of like old musicals and like live concerts from the library just to have on the background, and those make me feel happy. I was a big fan of The Music Man was great, and something else I just watched which I can't remember the name of now. Oh, Bye Bye Birdie. John, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Dude, Bye Bye Birdie. My sisters were obsessed with that movie when I was growing
I
up.
don't
It
know.
was
I saw my
amazing.
7th grade class's production of it. That was enough for me.
It
Joe,
is
have-
so good.
Joe, are you watching Lovecraft Country?
I am.
No.
So did you see the most recent episode, Cece? The 6th one? It's really, really good. But
I don't think so. Not yet.
it's set in Korea. No,
Oh, yes.
And
I did see that one.
she's like super into movie musicals, like
Yeah.
character. So like there's Summer Stock and what was the other one?
Meet Me in,
Meet Me in
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking, Joe, I got to mention this to you because
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
they're
I've leaned
older.
more-
They're like 50s, but
Yeah.
I've leaned more into TV than horror movies for my quarantine depression
Yeah.
fix. So, like right now, I got a good binge relationship going on with the Desperate Housewives.
Oh,
I
that was
rewatched
a
Hannibal.
great show.
It is great.
I was next.
What was
I'm
that?
loving Lovecraft Country. I think is excellent.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
check that
enjoying
out.
that too.
I'm just
It's
waiting
a-
for all of those to hit.
Well, it's really pulpy. So it's like horror, but it's like there's there's obviously a lot of race stuff in it, but like it's also super pulpy. Like there's some wild shit in every episode.
I just appreciate like it's done so like I don't know so gracefully. Like I appreciate the like melding of the two
Yes.
so well, and then like I think that the way they're expressing a lot of racial stuff is very interesting and very like poignant as opposed to like what we watched
Not
today.
gratuitous.
Correct.
I mean,
the main-
it's still violent and bloody as hell.
Oh, it's wild. The main actor, the main two leads, the actor and actress are fucking. They're like my new favorite. The
They're
actor I've seen a couple
phenomenal.
times. I hadn't seen the woman yet, but really good. So
Interesting. All right. And last but not least on Twitter, and then we'll jump over to Instagram. From our buddy Skizbot, when you were a trick or treater, did your neighborhood have the go-to good houses? You know, the ones that had the full-size candy bars every year, or more importantly, has your house become the good house in your adult years?
So Joe, you're familiar with my parents' neighborhood, so like it was your normal kind of like neighborhood, but then at some point some like rich dickheads like formed their own little like cul-de-sacs off of it.
Yeah.
So you'd go.
That's where I used to go.
It was like a
trick-or-treating, actually.
quarter-ish, half mile, like from where my parents' house is. You'd go. They're down their own little fucking circle, John. Like they're by themselves. They've got enough separation from like the unwashed masses of the neighborhood. But if you made the trek out there on Halloween and walked all the way down their ridiculously unnecessarily long driveways, you just get like whole candy bars. Like,
Yeah.
and if it was late at night and they had shit left, you'd get like multiple ones.
Well, that's when I got a little older. That's where I used to go. Like that was the neighborhood we would hit. And there
Frankly,
was always,
John, it was the least they could do.
Yeah. There was one house in that neighborhood which was our like go-to house, but it wasn't because it was good. It was because the woman that lived there was just like batshit insane. So you would go there and like she would give out like perfume samples, like
Oh my God, I love
random
that.
pencils. It was like literally she would like she must have been a hoarder and then would like go through her house and pick out stuff that she was gonna give out. Like it was just bananas, the stuff that she would
Nice.
give out.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about you, John? No?
John, did you trick or treat as a kid, or did you guys
Yeah.
like do your taxes that night?
Sorry.
I
I thought you said Joe. No, our neighborhood was like super densely packed, and I don't know that year to year we knew what the houses were, but it was always a thing. You would like see other kids because we knew everybody in the neighborhood.
The
You would,
word
like, see,
smoke on
Yeah,
the
the
street
word was-
was
yeah, it
Yeah,
would spread while you were trick or treating. Like, yo, make sure you hit XYZ house, and it was like, all right. So
serious question. Did
See,
you
I
meet-
never had a neighborhood get when I was trick or treating, so I always ended up at other friends who'd lived in neighborhoods and whatnot for Halloween and go
I
trick
mean-
or treat with them. So I didn't know where I was.
It's not even clear to me if like tweens and teenagers even still trick or treat. Like done very minimal neighborhood living in the last decade.
yeah, I mean, we used to trick or treat. My kids trick or treated in our building in New York, which
Right.
most of you have been to. Like,
Yeah,
Oh, I met your doorman.
It's different.
Yeah, John.
You know.
our neighborhood gets a little sadder every year.
Yeah, it's
Well,
weird, man.
I'm interested to see how my neighborhood will be by the time like my kid starts trick or treating, because the past 3 years, the first 2 years we didn't have any, and in the past 3 years we've had like a handful of little kids and a handful of teenagers, and that's literally it. But now everyone in this neighborhood has kids, so I'm wondering if it'll become like a really big thing when we can trick or treat again.
Eh,
Oh, that's
you may get
awesome.
lucky.
So that'll be fun. Like you'll have like a lot of kids
Yeah.
your child's age. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because like I bike home from the train and I'll randomly take different streets just because to keep it like interesting.
We don't want to
And
get kidnapped.
still,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
That's
like-
just what I'm thinking about.
I'm a 42-year-old biking. I'm like, we're gonna take the kids here. Like these houses are huge. Like I bet they give out good candy bars. Like, all right. Over on Instagram, we are at Bloody Good Horror on Instagram. Every Tuesday, I post up a question, and you can just send in yours, and I solve all your worldly problems. So we decided to read a few of them on here. First up, again, another one for Cameo for Eric. My question: if I donate $10 on Cameo, will Eric read 4 sentences of my choosing from erotic The Office fan fiction?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
There you go.
But will you change voices?
Oh, well, I do voices.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't really do office voices. No, well, okay. Yeah, yes, sure. I'll try some voices.
So that's something I like. I like porn parodies. I like ones where like they do like
Oh, okay.
The Office and like those random ones. Like I enjoy that. I like ones that actually have like a movie to it. Like I like to be able to like sit and watch for 2 hours.
Seriously. Okay, so you're the answer to my
You
question.
like a 90-minute horror movie, but a 2-hour porn parody movie.
So you're the answer to my
Yeah.
question. Who the hell watches those things?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I like this would be my weird thing. I love it. Like I can sit down and like just watch one like it's an actual movie.
So
I
you're the
find
guy
it
that
so
bought that
interesting.
Pirates movie, right?
Right.
I did 100%. I had it. It was a Christmas gift.
It was a Christmas gift.
Wow.
Oh my god. I assume I've told this on the show before, but I used to subscribe to this was years ago, but it was the Netflix of porn before like everything was streaming. So you would sign up and they would send you 2 or 3 like DVDs at a time, depending on what you pay, and I would just dupe them. So when we left Jersey and we're moving here, and like the kid was getting a little older, I'm like, I can't have like 3 or 4 spindles of porn just like sitting around the house.
All right, Joe.
So I threw them all out.
Joe, I know I'm going to regret asking this, but I have to do it. You're watching one of these porn parodies, right? It's like
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're being serious, but I can only assume yes.
No,
You sit and you watch a
100%.
2-hour porn. Okay. Are you stopping? Are you doing it? Like, are you just sitting and watching it and then doing it? Or are you just watching it like a
Usually,
movie?
It's you take care of your business, and then you're just like, well, I'm
And
gonna
then you stay
keep
there and
watching
keep
it this
watching.
way.
Keep watching.
That fucking is disturbing to me.
Wow.
Eh? Well,
So you're
We're all
saying
different.
you're one of the ones that feels guilty afterwards, Eric.
No, I have shit to do. I'm not
Eric-
watching a
Eric's
2-hour
not into
movie.
cuddling afterwards.
No, like I'm not watching a movie after. Like it's not a good movie. Like I already did what I'm there to do. Why am I hanging out?
how do you know that though if you're not watching it?
Yeah.
Maybe
You're
I
not
need
looking
maybe I
into
need
the
to watch it.
artistry of the film.
Maybe I just need to watch one and really
Seriously.
find out.
That one that Casey's talking about, Pirates, it's a legit movie.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
To Eric's point,
They made
though,
a sequel.
I've seen parts of Pirates. I've never watched the whole thing.
Oh, I could tell you the plots. Stagnati, I think, was the bad pirate's name. I forget. I'm pronouncing it
Stagnati?
correctly. Well, the part 2 was the curse of Stagnati.
I don't know. I don't want to. You know what? I can't. I'm not going to go
we
any
might have
further
to
down
cut
this.
short.
It's not for me, but
Mm.
I appreciate that. I guess that you enjoy that.
No. Here's some other questions. What's something I should bake to get me in the festive mood for spooky season?
Pumpkin scones.
I'm a big fan of like a
Mm.
pumpkin cookie or like a pumpkin muffin.
My mother-in-law brought home from, I believe, Trader Joe's or a supermarket, a pumpkin spindle, which I would encourage
Oh.
everyone to look up.
Oh,
Is that like a
Baked
spiral
cookie.
with the frosting in it?
Yes.
Dude,
yeah.
Trader
No, it's not. It's a Kringle, isn't it? It's not a
Oh,
spindle.
Kringle. You're right, Kringle. It's basically it looks like a big old donut, but it's got frosting and it's got like a filling situation.
You know what you could. You
It's
know
a
what you could.
huge thing here. Like I think it's Swedish. Like the
Dutch,
I,
I believe, is
Yeah.
what it said on the package. But yeah.
they're
I went
huge here.
to Trader Joe's the other day, John, and they busted out all the pumpkin. You know, how they'll just pumpkin anything. They
Yeah.
don't care. They don't care. I got the hell is it? Apple cider fruit spread, and it's basically like apple pie filling, but it's like jelly or like preserves almost or something.
Oh,
Holy
I have my
shit, it's
pumpkin
good.
cheesecake sitting in the freezer.
My go-to for the Halloween put me in the mood is not baked necessarily, but it does involve the oven. That's pumpkin seeds.
Yeah.
Mm.
pumpkin seeds are good.
I also pumpkin butter, big fan.
Oh yeah, that is good. I never understood why they call it that. There's no butter in it.
Well, they call it apple butter too, and that's not butter either, really.
Yeah.
It's very
Well, that
spreadable.
doesn't- That
Very
doesn't
spreadable.
answer my question. All right, next up. How many lobsters are there, like total, in the world?
Must be a couple hundred at least, right?
3.
1 million.
I went lower, like 30 or 40
Yeah.
tops.
Every once in a while around here, they'll find like a fisherman will come up with like a blue lobster because there's some mutation that makes them blue, or the weird colors, and then they save them. They send them to the aquarium, so they've got a whole display with like funky colored lobsters. Like sometimes they're multiple colored. It's a whole thing. They get saved from being eaten, John, because they're oddities. There's a
They
weird.
get hardened.
There's some weird pathos there.
There
I
you
guess.
go.
Interesting. All right, next up, this is a two-parter. Hair metal or new metal?
Hair.
Isn't the question you have to kill one?
No, it's just which you prefer,
Oh,
hair
wait.
metal or new metal.
Yeah.
I have to
hair
pick.
metal.
I'd go hair.
Yeah, hair metal
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
I do-
would
I- I
too.
do get into some-
definitely- even
There's some new metal I love, but hair metal's real good.
hair metal was like my sweet spot growing up. Like I knew them all. I was
Like in some way, I was younger when I was influenced by hair metal, so that nostalgia is deeper.
Well, I think I know I did, and your brother probably did too. Just like beat you over the head with a lot of it. I remember specifically playing "Dangerous Toys" for you, like repeatedly,
Okay.
and you loved it.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? This
no,
is
you would like sing the lyrics.
this is hilarious because I actually don't have any memories of you being at my house as a kid. So now I'm kind of terrified now.
This was
Listen, let me-
I remember it was the summer. You remember when they used to have rec at the high school?
Yeah, I am familiar. I went there every year.
Yeah, yeah. So we were all in rec, and like I would bring in my boombox and listen to them, and you were huge fan.
Okay, listen. There's 100% somewhere, if it's intact, a VHS of my brother and one of his friends and myself dancing and guitaring to some hair metal song, but we made like cardboard guitars. It's pretty sick. That's the whole, that's the whole story. It's pretty.
And
pretty
then the
cool.
follow-up was hair metal or baby metal.
I like baby metal a lot.
What? I don't
Do you
know.
guys
What is
know
baby
who
metal?
baby?
Yeah.
Baby
Yeah.
metal is this. It's these three Japanese
Oh, yes,
girls,
yes, yes.
and like they started like a metal band.
No, it's basically like some record producer was like, "Hey, you know, what'd be crazy if we made like
Yeah, we
a Japanese
Yeah.
pop band and then put them
Yeah.
with metal musicians." It's real weird. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I would listen to that.
I would still go hair metal.
Yeah, of course.
You should give it a go. I can send you. I think a lot of like metalheads like think it's stupid and just trying to cash in on it, but like I kind of look at it as like I've played it from Mia and like she likes it,
It's
and I'm
fun.
like if this gets her into like the type of music that I like, then great. It's like a little door
Yeah.
opener.
Very unique.
All right, we only got a couple more here. There was one. Taco Bell versus White Castle. Which do you pick after having 4 pumpkins?
Taco Bell.
White Castle.
I would probably
I
go
go
White
White
Castle as
Castle.
well.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
really just want the French fries. Like I would get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you could make an argument that all that bread would be good because it would absorb the alcohol, whereas Taco Bell's just going to fuck you up. It's not going to help that situation at
Well,
all.
there's
Yeah.
the grease potion too. It settles your stomach.
Oh, any day of the week, I would pick White Castle over just about any fast food. Like
Hmm.
it is.
It is really good. I'm way into it.
Chef's kiss.
But like John said, that
Uh,
it would actually be in reality closer to like a sack of fries and chicken rings.
There you go.
all right. What's your favorite city outside the one you live in?
Hmm.
Milwaukee was cool.
I did
Milwaukee
like, I
is
did
very
like
cool.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee was
Actually,
I wouldn't
cool.
call it my favorite, but I don't know. I
Um,
kind of live in my favorite city, so I don't really have another answer, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I miss New York every day of my life, but
Well, I don't live in New York currently, so I'm gonna say that, and then Milwaukee
York-
might be my number 2.
New York is just
honestly.
too much for me, and it's like, it's got a smell to it that I don't like that Boston does not have.
I
Um,
also just shout out to Joe because I love me from Chicago too.
Like
So,
everywhere in New York kind of smells a little bit like shit and a lot like garbage, and it's not great.
Eric's been to like 3 places in New York.
Yeah,
in
and
his
every
life,
one of
I
them
don't
smells.
remember. I don't remember the smell, but I remember New York City was a nice place to visit, but it would be too
Yeah.
much for
It's
me
a
over
lot.
time.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I mean, Boston just thinks of racism and envy of New York, Eric.
Okay, Joe.
There you go. There we go.
Uh,
Get it out. Get it out.
listen, I got a lot of problems with this city too. I'm just saying, on a scale.
We watched Wishmaster this weekend. What's your wish for 2021?
Oh God,
Actually, get here.
some
Anything
fucking
else?
peace and quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. A new president would be mine. I would go with that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That we make it.
yeah. Both of those.
Could everyone stop talking over Casey? I already applied. I said no, it's our podcast. We'll do what we want. And,
If I could, I would have done it years ago.
yeah.
Yeah. It's been 14 years.
here's a
It's not
good
going to change.
Also, I talk over everybody. It's kind of my thing.
We all talk over each other. All right. Well, maybe we'll make this one the last one. It's a good one. How do I convince my husband we need a puppy?
Don't do it,
Just
dude.
get one.
Don't do
Buy
it.
a puppy.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fucking expensive. What I want you to picture when you think about getting a puppy is the time and effort and emotional energy you're going to have to put in like 10 to 15 years when they are not eating and shitting themselves and you have to like pick them up to go down the stairs and hear that? That's my emphysemic roommate right on cue.
Wow.
That was kind
Oh.
of amazing.
Yeah.
So there you go.
See, actually, what the better way to do it is go rescue a nice like 2-3 year old dog that's already been through all that stuff, so your husband doesn't have to deal with that, and he's gonna fall in love pretty quick.
I mean, either
Yeah.
way, you definitely should be rescuing. Not to preach, but you
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
Well, I told her don't bother because Leslie and Mia years tried to convince me that we needed a dog, and then finally I broke down and we brought Lemmy into this house, and I befriended him, and now we love each other. And those two hate him because he doesn't care about them. He spends all his time with me. So,
Dude, yeah, my mom was resistant. Like they were kind of having an empty nest thing, and my mom wanted a dog forever. And my dad was resistant. They get the dog, and literally, my mom calls me like a week later. She came home, and he was laying on the floor underneath the kitchen table, like whispering sweet nothings to her.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what happens, man.
No, Leslie still like is, you know, Mia doesn't like the dog because like you took him away from her. Like, but you know what? I fucking walk him and I feed him. So
That's a good point.
yeah.
There you go.
go to hell, kids. Anyway, she
current
sent an
dog
update later. So. Oh,
Go
good.
ahead. I was gonna say our current
No, I
dog
was gonna
Agatha.
say
I'm like
she
the
said
third on
it-
the totem pole. Sorry.
She sent an update saying that they are getting the puppy now. So
Oh,
whatever.
good.
My advice of not bothering didn't work apparently. And that's I think we can cut it off there.
All right. How much time do we have until the 5K?
The 16th. So we're a little under a month at this point.
Love it. 5K and stuff. Halloween coming up, spooky time season. I just saw that the place that they normally put a Spirit Halloween store in is now a Hobby Lobby, which I didn't even know we had in the Northeast, and now I feel really sad about. So that's not good.
Yeah, you don't want to support those people.
No, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go to Michael's.
I'm aware, but now it's here, and there's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it. So anyway, happy Halloween, everybody. We're here. Yeah, if you stay on our socials on Slack, we'll be talking about whatever we are doing next week. Don't forget to get your
I
questions
think next
in.
week we're taking off, right?
Oh,
We're
that
doing
is
the
right.
classic?
I am moving into a new apartment, and so we will be taking the next week off. So we'll be doing a rerun, which I now realize I have to pick and edit and figure that out. So thank you for reminding me, Joe.
Or it could just be a 45-minute episode where Cece and I discuss our favorite porns.
Yeah, we could do that too.
you guys could review Pirates.
Hmm.
I haven't seen it. So.
Stagnetti's Revenge.
Well,
I
Joe-
think mine is
Joe will let you
Yeah,
borrow
my-
his login, and you can check it out.
mine's either in a landfill in Jersey or in like the happiest teenager in the world's house right now. If someone stumbled upon the dumpster where I threw all mine out.
Okay.
I just can't imagine if some teenagers did stumble upon a dumpster full of porn.
Can you imagine? So I know I threw out like legit probably like 500 movies, and then
Joe.
like probably 12 years
40-year-old
worth of
virgin.
like 12 years worth of Playboys all went into this dumpster. And Leslie and I kept joking, like, can you imagine if just like some rando walks by and is like, holy fuck.
All right, never mind. We're not ending the show. I have a question for you, Joe.
Yeah.
Did you buy all these?
No, I told you I used
Oh,
to
you did
adultdvdempire.com. They used to be like the Netflix of porn.
Okay,
so
I
you could
missed that,
sign up to
sorry.
get like 2 at a time. So I would get them,
Rip
dupe
'em.
them, and send them back. So
Got it.
I think I had this thing for like 3 or 4 years, and like I would be duping probably like 7 or 8 movies a month, just going through them, one by one.
Jesus Christ.
Using
was,
that media degree there, huh?
Exactly.
How
It
bad?
was an amazing time to be alive, Eric.
How bad was the chafing?
I was gonna say, what were your lotion bills like
Yeah.
then?
Don't insult me. I know what I'm doing, all right?
Did you have to work out the other arm to make sure they stayed the same size? Like that guy in Lady in the Water?
You know what? I'm glad that maybe like half a year ago, I finally decided to let people I work with in on the fact that I'm on a podcast. And
No one asked
Yeah,
you to
they're
tell us
calling
these
my
things
podcast.
tonight,
I
Joe.
hope they skipped this one.
No,
No.
I love it. I'm
I
finding
mean,
out things I never wanted to
I
know.
feel like I've got that look about me, like they're
Like you've maybe
you know,
owned a lot of porn. Like
porn
you,
sitting in the
like
office,
you might have owned
Yeah.
too much porn at some point. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get
you
it.
know.
Although, Joe, you work with a lot of young people who probably don't even understand the concept of owning porn.
Well, exactly. That's valid. I mean, are there even porn shops anymore? I think there's like one in Chicago.
No, come on.
I
That's
mean,
never going away.
there are,
There's
but they're
a
just not
generation
selling
that has to
movies.
pass before that goes away.
No, they're
Yeah.
just selling others. They're not selling movies. Like I wouldn't think anyway.
They have some.
Yeah. I think I'm that
It's-
generation, right?
Guys,
Do you ever
guys.
So sorry. Have you ever when's the last time you've actually put in like a DVD and watched on TV? Because it is
Never.
amazing.
I
to
haven't
go
put a
back.
DVD and watched a movie in like years. Any kind of
No.
movie.
You know what, Eric?
More recent for me. It's been like less than a year, probably. Mainly because we have a
Right?
shitload of DVDs in this house that I'm staying in, and the kids found them, and they were like, "Oh, we want to watch this movie." I was like, There
I
you
swear
go.
to God, up until right after the kids found them, I thought you were still talking about porn DVDs.
"No, regular." Yeah, I didn't
Like,
realize we were
what is
still-
going on at this house, John?
It's funny because I
Oh,
bought a new
my
TV back at right at the
Alright.
start of quarantine.
Alright.
Hooked up the Blu-ray player. I haven't seen the Blu-ray remote in probably 2 years, so
Wait,
I don't know
you
why I
guys
hooked it up.
don't watch movies on your TV?
I mean, well,
yeah,
I don't.
But I watch everything streaming.
I actually don't now. No, I pretty
I-
much just watch on my laptop for
Oof.
the most part.
I can't watch on the laptop. Like if we're no. It's too much. It's too small.
Gotta be up there in the action.
If the laptop's like right here.
All right. I don't know.
Just saying.
I think we're done here.
Okay. I have so many questions about your porn habits that I can't. I hate that I want to know the answer to. Okay, guys,
I don't want to know.
that's gonna do it.
It's time for the air show.
That's gonna do it for this week's episode of Bloody Good Horror. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you next week.
See you.
Bye.
Oh, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.